Tay looked out the window of the space station. Earth looked small from here. Blue, green, and white swirled together like a marble. He pressed his hand against the cold glass and took a deep breath. "Mr. Kim, they're ready for you now," said a voice behind him. Tay Kim turned around. He was 35 years old with short black hair and tired eyes. As a diplomatic attaché for the United Earth government, he had seen many strange things, but nothing had prepared him for today. "Thank you," he said, straightening his blue uniform. "Is Ambassador Sun already inside?" "Yes, sir. She asked that you join them right away." Tay nodded and walked down the long white hallway. His shoes made soft sounds on the floor. The space station was new, built specially for this meeting, the first official meeting between humans and the Galactic Senate. 3 months ago, a large ship had appeared near Mars. People on Earth had been scared at first, but the aliens sent peaceful messages. They called themselves the Galactic Senate. They were not one species, but many, 32 different alien species that worked together, and now they wanted humans to join them. Tay reached the big metal door at the end of the hallway. 2 guards stood there. They wore the same blue uniform as Tay. They nodded at him and opened the door. Inside was a large round room. In the middle was a table shaped like a circle. Sitting at the table were Ambassador Sun and 3 aliens. Ambassador Sun was a small woman in her 50s. Her hair was tied back and she wore the formal black and gold uniform of an Earth ambassador. When she saw Tay, she waved for him to come closer. "Ah, Mr. Kim, please join us," she said. "I was just thanking our guests for their invitation." Tay walked to the table and sat down next to Ambassador Sun. He tried not to stare at the aliens, but it was hard not to look. The alien in the middle was tall and thin, like a stick person. It had 4 arms and skin that looked like dark blue metal. Its head was round with 3 black eyes in a triangle pattern. It wore some kind of silver armor over its chest and arms. The alien on the left was short and wide. It looked a bit like a frog, but with 6 legs and pink, wet-looking skin. It too wore armor, but its armor was clear like glass and seemed to be filled with water. The third alien looked like a big insect. It had a hard shell, big eyes, and long antennas. Its armor was green and covered most of its body. "This is diplomatic. Attaché Tay Kim," Ambassador Sun said to the aliens. "He will help with all the details of our joining the Senate." The tall blue alien nodded its round head. "I am Kier," it said in perfect English. Its voice sounded like metal hitting metal. "I am the Senate liaison for new species. These are my assistants, Vosh and Mep." The frog-like alien and the insect alien nodded. "We are very happy that humans solved the problem between the Vesh and the Nari," Kier continued. "Many species tried to stop their fighting. For 200 years they fought over the moon called Belus. But humans found a way to make peace in just 1 week." The Senate was impressed. Ambassador Sun smiled politely. "We are glad we could help. Humans have a long history of both war and peace. We understand conflict." Kier made a strange sound, like small bells ringing. Tay realized it was laughing. "Yes, we have seen your history. You fight among yourselves, yet you also work together. Very interesting, very unique." Tay spoke for the first time. "Is that why the Senate wants humans to join? Because we helped the Vesh and Nari?" Kier turned its 3 eyes to Tai. "Partly, but also because humans are different. You will see how when you come to the Senate chambers." "When will that be?" asked Ambassador Sun. "Tomorrow," said Kier. "A ship is ready to take you and your team to the Senate station. It is not far, only 2 light days from here." Tay blinked in surprise. 2 light days? That was very far. But the aliens must have faster than light travel. "We will be ready," said Ambassador Sun. "Good," said Kerr, standing up. The other 2 aliens also stood. "One more thing. When you come to the Senate, bring no weapons. We do not allow weapons in the Senate." "Of course," said Ambassador Sun. "Humans do not bring weapons to diplomatic meetings." Good, said Kerr. But then it added, You should know that all Senate members wear protective armor in the chambers. It is tradition. Armor? Tay asked, confused. But you just said no weapons are allowed. Kyr's metal-like skin seemed to change color slightly, becoming darker blue. The armor is not a weapon, it is for safety. You will understand when you arrive. With that, the three aliens left the room, leaving Tay and Ambassador Sun looking at each other with confusion. What do you think that means? Tay asked when the door closed. Ambassador Sun shook her head. I don't know, but we should follow their customs for now. Tell the team to prepare for tomorrow, 10 people only as they requested. The next day, Tay stood with 9 other humans in a large room inside the alien ship. The ship had picked them up from the space station early in the morning. Now they were traveling faster than light toward the Senate station. The human team included Ambassador Sun, Tay, 3 security officers, a doctor, 2 scientists, and 2 more diplomats. They all wore the formal black and gold uniforms of Earth representatives. None had weapons as requested. We will arrive in 1 hour, said a voice from nowhere. It was the ship's computer speaking in English. Tay walked over to where Dr. G was standing. She was looking at a small device in her hand, taking readings of the ship. Finding anything interesting? Tay asked. Dr. G looked up. She was young for her position, only 30. She had short hair and always looked excited about new discoveries. This ship is amazing, she said. It's using some kind of space folding technology to go faster than light. Nothing like our theories predicted. What about this armor they mentioned? Tay asked. Did you bring any? Dr. G shook her head. We don't have anything that would count as armor in diplomatic supplies, just our regular uniforms. Ambassador Sun decided we should go as we are. Tay nodded. It made sense. Humans didn't wear armor to meetings. It would seem aggressive. An hour later, the ship slowed down. Tay and the others gathered at the viewing. Window outside was the biggest structure Tay had ever seen. It wasn't a planet or a moon. It was a giant space station shaped like a wheel. It must have been hundreds of kilometers across. The Senate Station, said the ship's voice. Home to representatives of 32 species and the center of galactic government for the past 8,000 years. The ship moved toward the giant wheel. As they got closer, Tay could see thousands of ships of different sizes and shapes docked at the station. Their ship entered a large opening and landed smoothly in a huge docking bay. When the doors opened, Kyr was waiting for them. Welcome to the Senate, said Kyr. Please follow me. As they walked through the station, Tay noticed something strange. Every alien they passed wore some kind of armor or protective suit. Some were like the ones Kyr and its assistants wore. Others were very different, glowing shields, metal plates, or clear bubbles around their bodies. But all of them wore something protective, and all of them stared at the humans as they walked by. Their expressions were hard to read on such alien faces, but Tay thought they looked worried. The first Senate session with humans will begin in 1 hour, said Kyr, as they reached a large door with strange symbols on it. These will be your quarters while you're here. Please prepare yourselves. As Kyr turned to leave, Ambassador Sun spoke up. Kyr, about the armor tradition, we did not bring any. Will this be a problem? Kyr stopped and turned back. All 3 of its eyes blinked at the same time. You wear no armor at all? Ever? No, said Ambassador Sun. Humans don't wear armor unless we're in battle. And you said no weapons are allowed here. Kyr made a sound like wind blowing through metal pipes. Interesting, very interesting. The rumors about humans may be true then. What rumors? Tay asked, but Kyr just shook its head. Go as you are then. The Senate will be most interested to see humans in their natural state. And with that cryptic statement, Kyr walked away, leaving the humans wondering what waited for them in the Senate chambers. The Senate chamber was huge. Tay had never seen a room so big. It was round like a bowl, with hundreds of seats going up in circles. Each seat had a small desk with lights and buttons. In the middle was a round platform where speakers could stand. T and the other humans followed Ambassador Sun to their assigned seats. The seats were in a section marked with Earth's symbol. a blue circle with green continents. "Look at them all," whispered Dr. G, who sat next to Tay. "So many different species." Tay nodded. The chamber was filling with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost like humans, just with different colored skin or extra limbs. Others were completely different, floating gas clouds, creatures made of crystal, things that looked like walking trees. But they all had one thing in common. Every single alien wore some kind of armor or protective suit. "I feel underdressed," Tay whispered back. "Or they're all overdressed," said Dr. G with a small smile. "I wonder why they need all that protection. There are no weapons allowed here." Before Tay could answer, a loud sound filled the room. It was like a deep bell ringing. The noise made the humans cover their ears, but the aliens seemed to expect it. "The Grand Speaker enters," announced a voice in many languages at once. "All rise. For zenith of the 12 moons," everyone stood up. From a door at the bottom of the chamber came a tall alien. It looked like it was made of light. Its body glowed yellow and orange, and it wore a suit that seemed to be made of dark metal. The suit covered most of its glowing body. The Grand Speaker floated to the center platform. It raised 4 thin arms. "The Senate is now in session," it said, its voice somehow speaking all languages at once. "Today we welcome representatives from Earth, the newest species invited to join our galactic community." All the aliens turned to look at the human section. Tay felt uncomfortable with so many strange eyes on him. Some aliens made noises of surprise. Others moved back in their seats, as if trying to get away from the humans. "Ambassadors of Earth, please come to the speaking platform," said the Grand Speaker. Ambassador Sun stood up. She looked calm and confident as she walked down to the center of the chamber. Tay and 2 other humans followed her. When they reached the platform, the Grand Speaker moved back, keeping distance between itself and the humans. Tay noticed this, but said nothing. "Honored Senate," Ambassador Sun began. "We of Earth thank you for your invitation. Humans are excited to join the galactic community. We bring with us our knowledge, our culture, and our desire for peaceful cooperation." As Ambassador Sun spoke, Tay watched the aliens in the chamber. Most kept looking at the humans' lack of armor. Some were talking to each other in low voices. They looked worried or confused. One group of aliens caught Tay's attention. They had red skin and sharp spikes coming from their shoulders. Their armor was black and thick, with many layers. They were watching the humans with what seemed like anger in their 4 yellow eyes. When Ambassador Sun finished her speech, the Grand Speaker thanked her. Then it opened the floor for questions from other Senate members. A blue fish-like alien stood up first. It wore a clear bubble filled with water around its head. "How do humans protect themselves from emotional discharges?" it asked. "We see you wear no containment suits." Ambassador Sun looked confused. "I'm sorry, but I don't understand the question. What are emotional discharges?" The fish alien made bubbling sounds that might have been surprise or laughter. "Surely all species have them. The involuntary release of energy or compounds during times of high emotion. Humans have no such discharges," Ambassador Sun said. "We express emotions through facial expressions, voice tones, and body language. But we release no energy or dangerous compounds." This caused a lot of noise in the chamber. Aliens were talking to each other, some making loud sounds of disbelief. The Grand Speaker raised its arms for quiet. "This is most unusual. But it would explain the reports from the Veshnari conflict." One of the red, spiky aliens stood up then. Its voice was deep and angry. "This is clearly a lie," it said. "All sentient species have defense mechanisms. These humans must be hiding something. Perhaps they are wearing invisible armor, or perhaps they are not as peaceful as they claim." Tay felt his heart beat faster. This was getting tense. Ambassador Sun stayed calm, though. "We hide nothing," she said. "Humans evolved differently than your species, it seems. We would be happy to allow your scientists to study us and confirm what I say." The red alien made a harsh sound. "I am Goru, Chief Senator of the Doru Imperium. My people have fought in 12 galactic conflicts. We know danger when we see it. And humans without protection are dangerous indeed. We mean no threat, Ambassador Sun replied firmly. We came in peace, unarmed, as requested. That itself is suspicious, said Goru. He stepped forward, his yellow eyes fixed on the humans. No species would be so foolish as to… Suddenly, Goru stopped talking. His red skin turned darker, almost purple. The spikes on his shoulders grew longer, and then, to Tay's shock, a dark mist began to come out of Goru's skin. The mist leaked through his armor at the joints and openings. Other aliens moved away quickly. Some raised shields on their armor. Emotional discharge, clear the area, shouted the Grand Speaker. The mist spread toward the humans. Tay felt fear rise in his chest. What was happening? Was this some kind of attack? Security aliens in special suits rushed forward, but they were too far away. The dark mist reached the humans first. It surrounded them, touching their skin, entering their noses and mouths as they breathed. Tay waited for pain or for his body to react badly. But nothing happened. The mist felt cool on his skin, but caused no harm. He looked at Ambassador Sun and the other humans. They seemed fine too. The chamber went completely silent. Every alien was watching, waiting for the humans to collapse or die. When nothing happened, the silence grew even deeper. Goru stared at them with his 4 eyes wide, open. Impossible, he said. My neurotoxin discharge is strong enough to paralyze a Krell beast. You should be unconscious at minimum. It seems, said the Grand Speaker slowly, that humans truly are immune to emotional discharges. Security personnel reached them then, wearing full-body suits with breathing masks. They seemed surprised to find the humans still standing and talking. The session is temporarily suspended, announced the Grand Speaker. Ambassadors from Earth, please return to your quarters while we assess this situation. As they left the chamber, aliens moved out of their way. Some looked afraid. Others looked curious or amazed. What just happened? Tay asked Dr. G as they walked back to their rooms. Dr. G's eyes were bright with excitement. I think we just found out why everyone wears armor in the Senate. These species release toxins or energy when they get emotional. The armor contains it. And humans don't do this? Asked Tay. Apparently not, said Dr. G. And that makes us very different. Back in their quarters, Ambassador Sun called everyone together. This changes our approach, she said. We are not just new members joining the Senate. We are unique in a way that might be very valuable to them. Tay looked out the window at the stars. Humans had always thought they would be the weak ones when they met aliens. Less advanced, less powerful. But maybe, just maybe, humans had something special after all. Something no armor could provide. A week passed. The humans became more comfortable on the Senate station. They learned about the different alien species and their cultures. Ty especially enjoyed talking with representatives from many worlds. Today was important. The Senate would vote on giving resources to the outer planets. Many poor species lived there and they needed help. Ty sat with Dr. G in the human section of the Senate chamber. Ambassador Sun was on the speaking platform with leaders from other worlds. The room was full. Almost all 500 senators were present for this big vote. Look at the Doru, whispered Dr. G, pointing to the red spiky aliens. They seem angry, Tay nodded. The Doru did not want to share resources with the outer planets. They had been arguing against it all week. The Grand Speaker raised its glowing arms. We will now vote on the Outer Rim Resource Bill. Please mark your choices on your screens. Senators began pressing buttons on their desks. Tay watched the big screen at the front of the room. It showed the votes coming in. Suddenly, a loud alarm began to sound. Red lights flashed on the walls. Warning, said a computer voice. Environmental system failure. Containment protocols activating. Heavy metal doors slid shut, sealing all exits from the chamber. Tay heard hissing sounds as air vents closed. What's happening? He asked Dr. G. Before she could answer, the Grand Speaker's voice boomed over. The noise. Remain calm. The chamber's life support systems are failing. Backup systems will activate shortly. But seconds passed and nothing happened. The room grew warmer. Some aliens began to move nervously in their seats. Backup systems also failing, announced the computer voice. Containment will remain in effect to prevent station-wide contamination. The grand speaker turned to its assistants, talking quickly. Tay couldn't hear what they were saying, but they looked worried. This is bad, said Dr. G. If the environmental systems are down. Tay realized what she meant. The chamber's air filters and neutralizers weren't working. If any alien had an emotional discharge, there would be nothing to clean the air, and they were all locked in together. All representatives, said the grand speaker, its voice less calm now, please check your armor integrity. Maintain emotional control. Help is coming. Aliens everywhere were checking their suits and armor. Some were breathing faster, others were making worried sounds. Then it happened. A small green alien in the upper rows started to shake. Its armor made crackling noises. My suit is failing, it cried out. The cooling system is down. White steam began to leak from the alien's armor. Nearby senators moved away quickly, but the steam spread fast in the still air. Another alien, one of the fish-like aqua, made bubbling sounds of distress. The water in its helmet began to turn yellow. Acid was mixing with the water. Mine too, called a voice from another section. Power failure in containment field. All across the chamber, alarmed cries went up. Without the environmental systems, the heat was building. Suits and armor that relied on outside power were beginning to fail, and afraid, angry aliens meant emotional discharges. Tay looked at Ambassador Sun on the platform. She was talking urgently with the grand speaker. Then she turned and waved at the human section. All human personnel, she called out. Report to the central platform immediately. Tay and Dr. G hurried down, along with the other humans. Around them, chaos was growing. More suits were failing. The air was becoming cloudy with various emissions, gas, steam, mist, even glowing particles. Aliens were panicking now. Some were unconscious, affected by others' discharges. Security personnel in special suits were trying to help, but there were too few of them. Listen carefully, Ambassador Sun told the gathered humans. The environmental systems and backup systems have both failed. The chamber is sealed to prevent contamination of the whole station. Engineers are working to fix it, but it will take time. How much time? Asked Tay. Too long, said the grand speaker, its glow pulsing rapidly with stress. At the current rate of emotional discharge, the air will be lethal to most species within 20 minutes. But not to humans, said Dr. G, understanding immediately. We don't release toxins and we seem resistant to most discharges. Ambassador Sun nodded. Exactly. We are the only ones who can move safely through the chamber now. What do you need us to do? Asked Tay. The grand speaker pointed to a control panel on the wall. That is the manual override for the environmental systems. If activated, it will bypass the main computers and restart air filtration. But it's across the chamber, through the worst of the contamination. Ambassador Sun looked at each human. This is dangerous. We know we're resistant to some discharges, but perhaps not all. Who will volunteer? Every human raised their hand without hesitation. We'll work in teams, said Ambassador Sun. Team 1 will help get the injured to safer areas. Team 2 will go for the override panel. Tay and Dr. G were put on Team 2, along with 3 security officers. As they prepared to cross the chamber, Dr. G handed out small cloth masks. These won't stop everything, she said, but they might help with the particles. Tay put on his mask and looked at the scene before them. The chamber was now filled with swirling colors, green gas, purple mist, glowing dust, and more. Aliens lay on the floor or huddled in groups, their armor no longer protecting them. Stay together, said the team leader. Move fast but carefully. They stepped off the platform and into the fog of alien emissions. Immediately, Tay felt a tingling on his skin. The air smelled strange, like metal and fruit and burning all mixed together. His eyes watered, but he could still see. His lungs burned a little, but he could still breathe. Next to him, Dr. G coughed but kept moving. They passed a group of Doru whose red skin was now deep purple. Dark mist poured from them, but the humans walked through it with only minor discomfort. "Over there," called one of the security officers, pointing to the far wall. "I can see the panel." They moved faster now. Tay's head was beginning to hurt and his skin felt hot. Not all the discharges were harmless to humans, it seemed, but they were not lethal, at least not quickly. They reached the panel, which was surrounded by unconscious aliens. Dr. G, who knew the most about technology, examined it quickly. "I need to enter the override code," she said. "The grand speaker sent it to my device." Her hands shook as she typed on the panel. Twice she had to stop and blink her watery eyes, but finally she pressed the last button. For a few seconds nothing happened. Then, with a rumble, the vents in the ceiling opened. Powerful fans turned on, sucking the contaminated air up and away. Clean air began to flow in from hidden vents in the floor. "It's working," said Tay, feeling relief wash over him. Throughout the chamber, filtration systems activated, cleaning the air. Special neutralizing sprays released from ceiling nozzles, breaking down the worst of the toxins and radiation. Tay and his team made their way back to the central platform, helping fallen aliens as they went. By the time they reached Ambassador Sun, the air was much clearer. Medical teams in special suits poured in as emergency doors opened. They began treating the injured. Many aliens were unconscious but alive. The Grand Speaker approached the humans. For the first time, Tay saw it without its dark armor. Its body glowed with swirling colors, yellow, orange, and now soft blue. "You have saved the Senate," it said simply. "No other species could have done what you did today." Ambassador Sun looked tired but proud. "We were glad to help. How did this happen? Both main and backup systems failing at once?" "We don't know yet," said the Grand Speaker. "It may have been an accident, or perhaps sabotage," suggested Tay. The Grand Speaker's glow flickered. "Perhaps. There are those who fear change, who might not want humans to join the Senate." Tay looked around the chamber. Aliens were helping each other. Medical teams were working, and the air was almost clear now. Humans had proved themselves today. "If it was sabotage," he said, "it failed." "Yes," agreed the Grand Speaker. "It has only proven what we suspected. Humans are not just unique, you are necessary." Dr. G, her face smudged and her uniform stained with alien emissions, smiled tiredly. "All because we don't need armor," she said. As medics checked the humans for injuries, Tay thought about Earth. Humans had always seen themselves as fragile, compared to what aliens might be like. No claws, no armor, no poison. But today, that very lack had made them the strongest ones in the room. The humans stayed in their quarters for 2 days. Senate officials came to take blood samples and scan their bodies. Dr. G helped with the tests, excited to learn more about alien biology as they learned about human biology. On the 3rd day, Tay was restless. He walked around their living area looking at the strange alien art on the walls. "I can't just sit here anymore," he said to Dr. G, who was looking at data on a tablet. "We need to understand what's happening. Why is everyone so surprised that we don't release toxins?" Dr. G looked up. "I agree. The Senate scientists aren't telling us much. They're too busy being amazed that we can control our emotions without releasing chemicals. Can we do some research on our own?" Tay asked. Dr. G smiled. "I thought you'd never ask. I've made friends with one of the medical officers. His name is Han. He's from the Lumi species. The glowing ones?" "Yes. He's been more open than the others. He might help us." Tay nodded. "Let's go find him." They told the guards at their door that they wanted to visit the medical bay. The guards, tall aliens with 4 arms, looked at each other, but then agreed to take them. The medical bay was a large room with many strange machines. Aliens in white armor moved around, working with samples and looking at screens. Han was easy to spot. He glowed with soft blue light. His armor was thinner than most, more like a light suit than heavy protection. When he saw Dr. G, he waved them over. "G, good to see you," he said in a musical voice. "And you must be Tay." "Yes," said Tay, bowing slightly. "Thank you for helping us." Han led them to a quiet corner of the medical bay. "What can I do for you? More tests?" "Actually," said Dr. G, "we want to understand more about emotional discharges. Why does every species have them except humans?" Han's glow dimmed a little. "It's not something we usually discuss with outsiders, but since you're joining the Senate..." He looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Every species evolved, with ways to protect themselves. For most species, these defenses activate automatically when they feel strong emotions." "Like anger or fear?" Tai asked. "Exactly," said Han. "The Doru release neurotoxins when angry. My species, the Lumi, release bursts of blinding light when frightened. The Aqua release acid when threatened. The Vosh release radiation when stressed." Tai's eyes widened. "Radiation?" "Yes. That's why their armor is so thick. It contains the radiation so they don't harm others," Han explained. "Every species has something like this. It's why the Senate chambers require armor. With so many different species together, discussing topics that can cause strong emotions, the risk is too great." "But humans don't do this," said Dr. G. "No, and it's fascinating," said Han. "Your bodies feel emotions, but you don't release external defenses. You're safe to be around no matter how angry or scared you get." Tay thought about this. "Can we see the medical records to understand the different types of discharges better?" Han hesitated. "Those are supposed to be confidential, but..." He looked at Dr. G. "If it's for scientific exchange..." He pressed some buttons on a nearby screen. "I can give you limited access to the basic data. Just don't tell anyone I did this," Dr. G promised, and Han showed them how to use the system. Then he had to go back to work. For the next few hours, Tai and Dr. G read through the medical database. They learned that each of the 32 species in the Senate had different types of emotional discharges. The Vesh released radiation when afraid. The Nari released corrosive chemicals when threatened. The Doru released neurotoxins when angry. The Aqua released acid when anxious. The Krell released electric shocks when excited. The Lumi released blinding light when frightened. The Zoth released freezing cold air when stressed, and many more. Each species' armor was designed to contain their specific discharge and protect them from others. "This explains so much," said Tay. "The tense diplomatic situations, the careful distance they keep from each other, the strict rules about emotional control, and why they were so shocked by humans," added Dr. G. "We can get angry, scared, or excited without poisoning, burning, shocking, or irradiating everyone around us." Tay leaned back in his chair. "Think about Earth's history. We've always fought. Wars, had conflicts, felt strong emotions, but we did it all face to face without armor. That might be why we developed such complex social skills and emotional intelligence," said Dr. G. "We had to understand each other's feelings without physical signals like toxic sprays or radiation." As they talked, a group of Senate officials entered the medical bay. With them was Ambassador Sun. She saw Tay and Dr. G and came over to them. "There you are," she said. "I've been looking for you. The Senate has called an emergency meeting about humans." "Are we in trouble?" Tay asked, worried. "No," said Ambassador Sun with a small smile. "Quite the opposite. They want to discuss a special role for humans in the Senate. But first they want us to confirm what we've discovered about emotional discharges." Tay and Dr. G looked at each other. "We've been doing some research," Tay admitted. "We know about the different species and their discharges now." Ambassador Sun nodded. "Good. The Senate is very interested in our unique biology. They're calling it emotional containment, our ability to feel emotions without releasing harmful substances." A tall alien with green scales approached them. "Ambassador Sun, the Grand Speaker is ready for your team now." They followed the alien back to the Senate chambers. This time, only a small group of important senators was there, sitting in a circle with the Grand Speaker. "Humans of Earth," said the Grand Speaker, its glowing body pulsing with light inside its dark armor. We have studied your biology and confirmed that you do not produce emotional discharges of any kind. This is unprecedented in our galactic history. A blue fish-like senator spoke next. For thousands of years, all species in the Senate have needed protection from each other's emotional responses. Meetings between different species have been dangerous. Wars have started because of accidental discharges. But you humans, said another senator, this one looking like a giant furry spider, can be in the same room with angry, frightened, or excited aliens and remain unharmed. And you harm no one with your own emotions. The Grand Speaker moved forward, closer to the humans than any alien had come before. We believe this makes humans uniquely suited for a special role in the Senate. You could serve as mediators, working between species that cannot safely meet face to face. We need to run more tests, said one of the scientists. But preliminary results suggest humans might even be resistant to most forms of emotional discharge. The incident with Senator Goru's neurotoxin proves this. Ambassador Sun looked thoughtful. This would be a great honor, but we need to understand more about what this role would mean. Of course, said the Grand Speaker. We will provide all the information you need, but first we must finish our scientific confirmation. As they left the chamber, Tay felt both excited and nervous. Humans had come to the stars hoping to find their place, and it seemed they had found it in the strangest way possible. I never thought our greatest gift to the galaxy would be our lack of poison, he said to Dr. G. She laughed. Sometimes the most valuable thing is what you don't have. As they walked back to their quarters, aliens moved aside for them, watching, with new respect in their eyes. Humans, it seemed, were special after all. 2 weeks after the crisis in the Senate chamber, the station was back to normal. The engineers had fixed all the systems and added extra backups. They discovered that someone had deliberately damaged the environmental controls. The Senate security team was still looking for who did it. Today was a special day. The Grand Speaker had called for a formal ceremony to officially welcome humans to the Senate. Everyone was talking about the brave humans who had saved so many lives during the chamber crisis. Tay stood in front of a mirror adjusting his new uniform. It was still the black and gold of Earth, but now it had a special symbol on the chest. A human figure without armor, standing tall. Ready for the big day? Asked Dr. G, entering the room. She wore the same new uniform. As ready as I'll ever be, said Tay. I never thought we'd become so important so quickly. Being immune to alien emotional discharges turned out to be quite useful, she said with a smile. The Senate scientists have been studying our biology non-stop. They're amazed by our immune systems. Ambassador Sun joined them, looking proud and serious. Everyone is gathering in the main chamber. It's time. The three of them walked through the station corridors. Aliens moved aside, bowing or making respectful gestures as the humans passed. It was very different from when they first arrived. The Senate chamber was full again, but the mood was much happier. The Grand Speaker stood on the central platform, glowing brightly. Its armor was now lighter and more decorative than protective. Many aliens had changed their armor too. After seeing how humans could resist most discharges, some species had worked with the Senate scientists to make their armor less bulky. They still needed protection, but they were trying to be more open, more like humans. Ambassador Sun led the human delegation to the central platform. All 10 humans were there, standing tall in their new uniforms. The Grand Speaker raised its forearms, and the chamber went quiet. Today, we officially welcome humans to the Galactic Senate, it said, its voice carrying throughout the chamber. But this is not just a normal welcome. Today we also recognize the unique gift that humans bring to our galactic family. The Grand Speaker moved to a small table. On it was a glowing document, the official Senate membership for Earth. For thousands of years, the many species of our galaxy have lived separately because of our biological differences. Our emotional discharges made it dangerous for us to be together without protection. Wars were fought because of accidental releases of toxins or radiation. Peace talks failed because representatives could not safely meet face to face. The Grand Speaker paused, its glow changing to a soft blue color. Then humans arrived. a species that evolved on a planet of incredible diversity, a species that developed powerful immune systems and emotional control, not through biological weapons, but through communication and cooperation. On big screens around the chamber, images of Earth appeared, forests and oceans, cities and mountains, and people of all colors living together. Humans evolved without the need to release toxins or energy when emotional. Instead, they developed complex social skills. They learned to understand each other through words, expressions, and body language. They fought wars, yes, but they also made peace, face to face without armor between them. The Grand Speaker turned to face the human delegation. Ambassador Sun, please step forward to sign the membership document. Ambassador Sun moved to the table. She picked up a special pen and signed her name on the glowing document. As she did, the document changed color from blue to gold. Earth is now officially a member of the Galactic Senate, announced the Grand Speaker. The chamber filled with sounds of celebration, clicks, whistles, rumbles, and applause from the few species with hands. But there is more, continued the Grand Speaker when the noise died down. The Senate leadership has created a new position. Human representatives will serve as safety officers and mediators at all major Senate functions. A new image appeared. On the screens, the same symbol that was on the humans' new uniforms. Because of their natural immunity to most emotional discharges, humans can safely work in environments too dangerous for other species. They can help during emergencies, as they proved during the chamber crisis. And they can serve as mediators between species that cannot safely meet directly. Ambassador Sun stepped up to speak. The chamber went quiet again. On behalf of Earth and all humans, we accept this honor and responsibility, she said. We came to the stars hoping to find new friends and allies. We never imagined that our simple biology would make us so valuable to the galactic community. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes, stalks, or sensors of many different aliens. Earth's history taught us important lessons. We learned that despite our differences in appearance, belief, and culture, we are stronger together than apart. We had to learn this without the barrier of armor between us. Now we hope to help the Senate species learn this too. Ambassador Sun's words were greeted with more sounds of approval. Even the Doru, who had been skeptical of humans, made rumbling sounds of respect. After the ceremony, there was a celebration. For the first time, some aliens wore minimal armor around humans. They were still careful, but they were trying to be more open. Tay found himself talking with Han, the Lumi medical officer who had helped them. Han's armor was now just a thin suit, and his blue glow was clearly visible. Your ambassador's speech was beautiful, said Han. Many species are rethinking how they interact with each other now. Because of humans? Asked Tay, still finding it hard to believe. Yes. For too long we accepted that we must always be separate, always protected from each other. Humans show us another way might be possible. Han's glow brightened. Some species are already working on medical treatments based on human biology, treatments that might help control emotional discharges. Tay smiled. That would be wonderful. Later, Tay stood by a large window looking out at the stars. Dr. G joined him. Quite a day, she said. From newcomers to essential Senate members in just a few weeks. All because we don't need armor, said Tay, shaking his head in wonder. It's more than that, said Dr. G. It's because we learned to understand each other without physical signals. We had to develop empathy and communication. Do you think the other species can learn this too? Asked Tay. Dr. G looked back at the celebration, where aliens of different species were carefully trying to interact with less armor between them. I think they already are, she said. And we'll help them. Ambassador Sun approached them, looking tired, but happy. The Grand Speaker just told me something interesting, she said. There's an old Senate saying, true strength lies not in armor, but in understanding. They're thinking of making it the new Senate motto. It's a good one, said Tay. He looked out at the stars again, thinking of Earth. Humans had always seen themselves as the weak ones, No claws, no armor, no special abilities. They worried that when they met aliens they would be the least powerful species. How wrong they had been. Sometimes, what seems like weakness is actually strength. Sometimes, not having armor makes you stronger than those who need it. And sometimes, understanding is the greatest power of all. Out among the stars, humans had finally found their place, not as warriors or conquerors, but as mediators and peacekeepers. Not because they were the strongest or most advanced, but because they could do something no other species could. They could face the galaxy without armor and survive. That was humanity's gift to the stars. And it was more than enough.